We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. And I'm just going to be asking some questions. Now, right out of the gates, I want to tell you, I'm not a doctor. Numero uno. Number two, I am not going to be giving you any type of medical advice in this video. Number three, what we are about to cover is actually something I covered over 5 years ago. And not only did I cover it over 5 years ago, we're going to be using it as an example of internet censorship and suppression. So what story are we talking about? Well, if you saw the thumb and you saw the title, Mel Gibson is at it again. Okay, he was just on the Joe Rogan podcast. Actually, while filming that podcast, his home burned to the ground. I can only imagine. Again, I know a lot of people don't have any sympathy for people that achieve celebrity status, but when your home burns to the ground, it's not just about like the possessions that you've attained that have value. It's the sentimental value of so many of those things. And I told you that a ton of these people were going to be losing their homes. That's a whole nother issue. Those fires are still going. They've now arrested an individual, at least one, as an arsonist. Whole nother story. But this story is really important for a number of reasons. Now, one of the biggest videos, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, that I've done on this channel on YouTube, and actually is still one of the most viewed videos every single month, no matter what. And it's still only at like 66,000 views. Again, we're going to get into internet suppression and how it's not a good thing. And maybe it wasn't a good thing for the last CEO of YouTube to do either, who's no longer with us. We'll get to that also in this video. But the Joe Tippens story is not a new one. This one's been around, Fenbendazole in particular. And then, of course, you have now Ivermectin making its way on the scene post-COVID 1984 nightmare. And we got to be real careful on the dance we do on this video. I'm still getting things taken down. Had a video taken down last week. I'll say this, at least now they're time stamping the portion of the video they say has violated their policies, and it was a Union of the Unwanted episode. I had Del Bigtree in that. You can only imagine what he said, so I'm not even going to get into that aspect of censorship. We're going to get into what Mel Gibson recently claimed on the Joe Rogan podcast and much more. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share, check out the alt platforms. And folks, if you can, please consider donating via the Buy Me a Coffee or one of the other links down below. Also watch on Rockfin if you are a subscriber. $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me. Let's get into it. Mel Gibson tells Joe Rogan ivermectin cured stage 4 cancer of 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 of his friends. Now, again, I am making no claims here. In fact, I'm going to give a bit of a disclaimer right now on this issue. Tom Renz, who I respect very much, his wife is, I believe, battling stage 4 cancer as we speak continually. And Tom and I spoke in October. And actually, I believe that interview is out there. I put it out there via Making Sense of the Madness. Certainly not something that we could put on YouTube. And when you just see the suppression of this topic, it's alarming. Okay, but that's a whole other issue. And look, Tom's aware about the Fenbendazole, the ivermectin, tried those, many of the other things. Remember, Rick Simpson and the concentrated THC, the RSO Rick Simpson oil, that has been another claim. People talk about fasting, people talk about no sugar, etc. There's a lot of claims out there. Now, so far, everything they've thrown at Renz's wife has not worked. All right, so once again, I'm not even saying that if what we're about to watch is correct, we've got to be very careful here, that it's a panacea. In other words, it works for everybody. All right? But what we are going to do in a moment is we're going to play a local news piece that I've played on this program probably, half a dozen times. And let me also say this, because I think that this is also really important. There are more and more people talking about Fenbendazole, right? John Campbell, God bless him for being on there. I think that this one, it's got 284,000 views. You guys can't see that, but we'll put it up here now. And it's only been out there for a month or so. And he's talking about Fenbendazole and cancer. All right, and reading the studies word for word. Of course, just like Mel Gibson being attacked for talking about this stuff, Elle Macpherson, allegedly, was diagnosed with breast cancer 7 years ago. Didn't treat it with traditional medicine, kind of, created this whole environment where she went away from society. Again, I'm not clear on all the details there. Viciously attacked in the media. Seems to be okay. Now, when we get to Joe Tippens, and we're going to play this video in a moment, mycancerstory.rocks, mycancerstory.rocks, that's his website, okay? So anybody can go check that out, all of his links. But again, we're about to check out Fenbendazole in a moment. But I want to show people this, okay? So this is how badly this channel is shadow banned on really all platforms. And I'm going to show you why this may not be a good thing in a moment. Now, what you're seeing here is the top result. I typed in "This Cancer Story Rocks Bermas." Like I said, this is one of my more popular videos. The first thing that comes up is Yandex with a video preview from my Podbean. All right? Which Yandex is like a Russian search engine. Now, again, from that Podbean, you also have it go to Last.fm. All right, great. Now, these next ones have nothing to do with my video whatsoever. Now, remember, Google is an extension of YouTube. It's like the 8th one that they're suggesting the YouTube page with a video that still gets, for me, a ton of views, right? We're at 66,000 views on this one. It's from 2019. That is Tippens in the background. All right, so just from their own search engines alone, and believe me, I had to use DuckDuckGo several times on this just to find the news story that we're about to show. And I'm going to use Susan Wojcicki, who's no longer with us, who died of cancer, as an example of why this is bad news brown after we watch this video in full from local ABC News. So let's hit the clip.
Someone that a medicine for dogs cured your cancer, you better be ready for some skeptics. But Joe Tippens says it did save his life and others. And now even cancer researchers are open to the possibility it might be true.
My neck, my liver, my pancreas, my bladder, in my bones, it was everywhere.
2 years ago, Joe Tippens says he was told to go home, call hospice, and say his goodbyes. The doctors were unanimous. He was going to die of small cell lung cancer.
Once that kind of cancer goes that far afield, the odds of survival are less than 1%, and the median life expectancy is 3 months.
Tippens says he went from 220 pounds to 110, but that was January of 2017. Today, Tippens is very much alive, and what he credits for his survival has doctors scratching their heads and the rest of us raising eyebrows.
About half the people think I'm just crazy, and half the people want to know more and dig deeper.
Tippens says he got a tip, not from a pharmacist, but a veterinarian. And in his desperation, he turned from people medicine to dog medicine, specifically Fenbendazole, or what you give a dog when it has worms.
Truth is stranger than fiction, you know.
Just 3 months later, Tippens says his cancer was gone.
I'm usually skeptical, and I was, and maybe still am, about this one. But there's an interesting background to this.
Cancer researchers like Stephen Prescott are skeptical, but they also are not dismissing this anti-parasitic's potential. He says Tippens is not the first person to potentially benefit, and maybe not the last.
Scientists at many credible places have done work on this for years.
But was it the dog dewormer, or was it something else? Tippens took the dog medicine with daily vitamin E supplements and CBD oil. He was also taking an experimental cancer-fighting drug. But Tippens says out of the 1,100 patients on that clinical trial, he was the only one cleared of cancer. Tippens says he was saved by the dog dewormer, and he plans to take it for the rest of his life.
Well, my insurance company spent $1.2 million on me with traditional means before I switched to a $5 a week medicine that actually saved me.
Prescott says he's now working with Tippens to organize a case study.
We're going to do it and see if we can confirm that in a very rigorous or a clinical study sort of way that these patients had that kind of response.
As for Tippens,
I've got now over 40 success stories other than me.
He's sharing his story on an online blog that has already been read more than 100,000 times. Most of the feedback, positive or curious. Some, though, accuse Tippens of giving cancer patients false hope.
How do I answer that? I mean, if I've saved one other person other than me, it's worth it to me.
All we know for sure is that Joe Tippens is alive. In time, perhaps we'll also know if this medicine made for man's best friend might also be man's newest cancer cure.
And there you go. And they have been doing more and more and more trials. That's 5 years ago. That's 5 years ago. Now, Susan Wojcicki, I mispronounced her last name. I probably just mispronounced it. She died this past summer of cancer. Now, what I want to remind people of, and we're going to play this clip of her talking about, proudly about YouTube censorship, is that she was the YouTube censor. They were the arbiters of truth. How Susan Wojcicki quietly guided YouTube to video sharing dominance. No, that was not her, all right? She's just a minion, and she was easily replaced. Where's the line of free speech? Are you removing voices that should be heard? As the crisis hit, in other words, the COVID-1984 nightmare, video sites struggled to stem the flow of extreme content. The CEO talks about her role as the internet's gatekeeper. And of course, Brian Stelter, reliable sources, or as I like to call him now, unemployed, champion. I mean, go listen to this from 2020. They all bragged about it. And, I skipped a little ahead in this video we're about to watch, okay? Because I didn't want the V word out there. But, it's the same framing. The media's like, how do you do better? You're hurting people. You're causing hesitancy. And remember, this is still the policy today on YouTube. but I'm not a doctor, and I'm not telling you to do anything regarding anything. I'm just going to let you listen to this woman, okay, that was all about shutting down other voices, is no longer with us and has died of cancer.
Well, first of all, we've taken responsibility very seriously. It's been one of my top priorities, and with regard to COVID and with regard to vaccines, that has been a top priority for us. And we have a number of different ways that we address that. So first of all, we want to make sure that if there's information that violates our policies, we came up with 10 different policies around COVID. Then if that's a violation of policies, then that's something that we'll remove. We removed over 1 million videos associated with COVID. But we also want to make sure that we're raising up information that we think that come from trusted and authoritative sources. And we've really been able to do that.
Have you talked to the Biden administration at all about vaccine hesitancy or vaccine misinformation?
Well, we did an event actually with the Biden administration, including President Biden himself, with a number of creators, Fauci as well, and we really saw that as an opportunity to be able to help and spread that the information that was coming from the administration and coming from experts to using creators and those channels to be able to distribute authoritative, trusted information.
I wonder if there's anything that you see in the way that anti-vaxxers behave on the platform, if there are any data or insights there that could be helpful to people understanding where they're coming from.
I mean, we try to understand what are the different ways that we can break through. So we talked about in this campaign that we did about getting back to the things that you love. We talked about, we had people that represented all different backgrounds. We had people, like one of them was actually featuring her mom, talking about like how she was thinking about it. So what we really tried to do was get not just from the experts, but also people that were not experts, but who were explaining like why did they take the vaccine? Why was that relevant for them, and what was their thought process? So, and that's a place where I believe YouTube can really shine, is having experts as well as just regular creators and people give their opinions.
So bragging about their influence operations while censoring people. And again, did limiting information maybe cause herself to have an early demise? Again, I'm not a doctor. But I want as much information as possible on every single topic out there. Guys, let's hit the thumbs up. Let's ring that bell to follow. We do nothing but lose subscribers on YouTube. I do want to encourage people to also follow me at X. We've hit that, 46,000 mark. Thank you so much, at Jason Bermas. And if you want to support the broadcast beyond that, please consider $5, $10, $15. Big donors, you are always welcome. With the Buy Me a Coffee link, there are other links down below. I want to say thank you to Feeling Fine, KCG, Nick, Vic, and others. Without you guys, I would not be able to do this. I want to remind everybody that my documentary films are also free, and I encourage you to watch and share those as well. Fabled Enemies, Loose Change Final Cut, if you want to learn about 9/11, and then Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture. Remember the deal, everybody. Not about left or right, always about right and wrong. How dare Mel Gibson talk about Fenbendazole and Ivermectin on the Joe Rogan podcast? No. Absolutely love you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side.